Hey everyone, welcome to Tuesday with Pastor Dan. Good to have you all join. I want to talk about transformation, talk about how we change. And I think we talk a lot about how we change the world around us, how, when we talk about transformation, how we as individuals and our impact change the state of the world around us, the lives of others, the butterfly effect, the ripples we create. Um, I've been reading a lot of quantum mechanics and quantum physics, and it's the entanglement, how we're all entangled. But I want to change it to personal transformation, how we as individuals change over the course of time. We are an ever evolving, ever forming creation. We're never just done. And I think that's probably one of those three soapbox sermons I get on that that they say every minister only has three, and I think that's one of them, is that we can never be complacent as faithful people. Oh, I've accepted Jesus, or I believe in this, and I'm done. That'll eventually lead to some sense of deconstruction where we fall apart because we will run into something in life that is difficult or hard, or to use a theological word that we use as pastors, as educated in different ways, liminal, a broken space, a separated space, a space in between, betwixt and between, kind of like a threshold, if you will. You're walking through the door, but you're not in the other room, and you're not in that room anymore. Those places of separation, of challenge, and you're not quite into the next thing. You're in this in-between space. Well, in seminary, we learned about Fowler's stages of faith. I think there's 5 stages, and I can't quite remember, and that's not the important part. But he talked that when we're changing from one stage of faith or a stage of growth or into a new person, it almost always happens with trauma. And trauma doesn't necessarily mean like death or something, but it happens where we are confronted with something that no longer works in that stage, whether it's moving from literal to the metaphor, where, like, you tell a kid who's too young that you're like a pine cone, and they're like, I'm a pine cone, between where they can accept that it's not just literal, but it's into metaphor and things like that, analogies and metaphors, they will have some sort of moment where they struggle. But see, that doesn't work with us as people. We don't like those moments. We don't like liminal space. We don't like in between. We don't like struggle. We don't like difficulty. Everything's always supposed to just be okay. And that's why we become people of faith, because Jesus says it's all just going to be always okay. It's going to be happy and wonderful. Jesus doesn't say that. It's not scriptural. It's not there. Jesus says, blessed are those who mourn. Well, if blessed are those who mourn, that means they had to come to a place where they had something to mourn and have lost it. Trauma, if you will. Here's what I'm thinking, is we have to step into these liminal, in-between, hard places willfully, boldly, because we know who we will be on the other side. Well, we don't know who we will be, but we know that we will be a better, more fuller version, because in faith and in trust and in hope in the God who creates and redeems and sustains, we can step into those places because we know on the other side, as we come through the doorway into the next room, it is a fuller, bigger, more wonderful room. Instead of hesitating and pausing and stopping in the doorways and saying, no, I'm not dealing with that, or I can't do that, or it'll break me, but maybe breaking and the struggle is, well, it is part of the journey, and it's a good part, it's a powerful part, but if we ignore or hesitate or hold back, then it is not. So I guess maybe we boldly go through the struggles and the doorways, but like I often come to, is that we don't do it as people without hope, without trust, and without faith in someone, something higher that connects us all and binds us together, so that we never go through that alone, and we will come out on the other side bigger, fuller, and better than we ever thought we could. May you all be blessed. May you all be transformed by the Holy Spirit. Look forward to seeing you all soon.